We know that trading is coming soon into the game of Brighter Shores. It's going to be sort of like an auction house system like in World of Warcraft. And what we're going to talk about here is the items that you should be investing in Brighter Shores when trading does release, because these items are going to hopefully go up in price. So I'm going to get right into it. One of them is the 5% XP Hopeport potions, and then you've got the 6% Hopeport potions. Now, there is a 5 silver difference between these with only a 1% extra boost. Now that tells me either the 6% potions are a bit too expensive, or the 5% potions are a bit too cheap. Now, a lot of gold is starting to flow into the game, and it's going to become apparent, in my opinion, that these 5% potions are incredibly cheap in their price. Now, what that means is that I think overall what's going to happen is, and this is my opinion and prediction, some of these 5% potions are going to increase in price in the long term. Now, this might be 2 months down the line, it might be 5 months, it might be 8 months, but these are incredibly cheap. And so what a good idea is to buy a bunch of these 5% potions. You can also look at the other ones. So for example, we've got Hope Forest here, which is 2 silver and 360 bronze, whilst the cost of the 6% 14 silver and 100 bronze. So again, like a 12 silver difference almost, just for 1%. So it does seem that the 5% are incredibly underpriced in my opinion. So it might be worth stockpiling definitely the Hopeport ones, because they are the cheapest possible cost. They do jump up a little bit in Hope Forest, and as you go into the Mines of Mantuban and Chronopolis, they also jump up as well. So consider that as well, but definitely invest in those. So if I show you my bank, I've sort of put my money where my mouth is, so to speak, and I have actually bought 11,000 of these. Now again, I might be shot in the foot, and the vendor price might actually go down. You know, they might get even cheaper, at which point I'm screwed. However, I think it's a calculated risk. It makes sense. Now, when trading comes out, let's say that they do up these vendor prices. Well, then if you can sell the potions to the trading market, then essentially if the vendor prices go up, market is going to go up as well, right? Because the base cost goes up from the vendor cost. It's a win-win situation, because let's just say that they don't go up in price. Well, you're going to be using these 5% potions anyways, so you might as well, if you've got a bunch of gold stacked up, you might as well put them in the 5% potions for each episode, because your gold is actually going down. It's worth less because inflation in the game is going up essentially every single day. It's just what happens with MMORPGs, right? There's more people getting higher levels, they're getting more gold into the game, therefore the gold worth is always going to be devalued over time. Now, not so much in Brighter Shores, because we don't have anything like high alchemy that's in RuneScape, which creates massive gold inflation. Another one for anybody interested in combat, we've also got the health potions, the 20%, which are incredibly cheap, I think, at 1 silver, 600 bronze. And then some of these strength arbor pots and strength cryon pots are cheap as well, coming at under 3 silver for the plus 40s. So these 3 items as well may, with inflation, go up in price. Again, we can't be certain, but these are all going to be useful anyways. If you're training combat a lot, why not stack up on these instead of stacking up on a bunch of gold? It might be worth doing. There is a lot of people making potions, so in the short term, the 20% may actually be worth less than the vendor price to begin with, but over time, I think that these prices may go up, okay, on the healing and strength arborees, etc. Now, I do come from a business background, so it's supply and demand that I'm thinking of here. Another option here, and this is probably a good option Say, for example, you are a player at like level 300 total level, 400 total level. You don't have a great deal of money making methods in Brighter Shores. I'm going to show you another good method. So what you can see here is all these assorted items that can be used with the chef's skill. Now, some of these items I believe are going to be in incredible demand, particularly the bread. Now, the bread is sold at only 200 bronze, so you only need to gain a few hundred silver to then make this investment and buy a ton of these. And if you can sell these on the marketplace, these pieces of bread are probably going to go up extortionate amount compared to what the vendor cost is, because of the time it takes to run these from Kevin to the storage rift, to the storage bank, should I say. So you could buy, for example, bread, stack up like 10,000 of it, and when trading releases, there is going to be specific players that are looking to buy these items, and you will be able to make massive bank from it, because these players are not too bothered about the gold that they are not making. They want to just get the XP. Maybe they're fighting for ranks. Maybe they just want to level up incredibly quickly. So if you're more bothered about becoming rich on the game, then actually just absolutely stockpiling some of this stuff like bread. Another example is gelatin, okay, because that's used for a lot of different recipes on here, like the jellied eels and other stuff. Another item here is the pastry. That is used for the chicken and leek pies. And there is no tiers to the pastry. So what I mean by that is, of course, when you buy, for example, the vegetable stews, there is tiers here. So you've got like here the appetizing vegetable stew, delicious vegetable stew. In the assorted section, these don't go up in tiers. They're just pastry. It's a base ingredient. So therefore, it can be used for all the different recipes throughout the chef's skill. And with that, there is going to be massive demand for that base item, because they're going to need that all the way through to level 500. Another item here, which I think is probably the best thing to consider, is the bread, the pastry, the raw chicken. These sorts of items are probably the best ones, particularly the bread, because there is a big level gap when you reach into like the 300s or something. I think it's gourmet bacon sandwich, all the way up to an insane level, and you have to do something called Bacon Mountain when training chef. Here's another example where you could probably make a lot of money, is if you get to level 217, the delicious vegetable stews, because you have to make something like 40 or 50,000 of these to reach to the next zone of levels to the delicious omelette. It makes it so that you have to actually make more vegetable stews to then get to the next tier, right? So if you was able to just passively level up some of your chef and then buy up some of these ingredients, like this level 68 egg or the level 120 veggie stew, whatever it is, you know, try to buy up those. You can make money from just absolutely stockpiling those items. Examples for Sternmore are incredibly cheap as well. This is more for the people who are kind of new to the game for this particular investment, but the 5% Sternmore pots and the ingredients for them are incredibly cheap as well. Get the Sternmore pot ingredients. That might be something worth investing in as well, and making a bunch of these pots. When Sternmore releases, these pots are going to be in high demand as well. Here's another example, the 6% Persian for Sternmore Hill. The ingredients for them, I believe, are quite cheap as well. And just stockpiling these 6%, these are going to be in heavy demand when the episode releases. And people are just going to want the best possible Persian when they race for leaderboard ranks when the next episode is. Stockpile, say, like 2,000 Sternmore Hill potions, you are going to be incredibly rich in the game. Now, unfortunately, the 8% Sternmore potions and the 10% potent potions for Sternmore are level 419, 470 respectively. Now, I don't know what the ingredient costs are like for those potions, but again, stacking those up is going to be incredibly useful if you was able to do that. I do think that with more gold coming into the game, these items here are going to be seeming incredibly cheap. And I think what Andrew Gower might do, and this is speculation, is going to want to think of ways to take gold out the game to make sure that we don't have too much inflation. And I think one of the ways that they might do that is by increasing the vendor costs. For example, these foraging items, which are only like 20 bronze here, okay? So you can get 100 of them for 2 silver, okay? That is incredibly cheap. To make 2 silver, it takes literally 0 time. So these, I think, are incredibly underpriced as well. So I do believe they will update the prices of these probably to double or triple. So it might be worth just stacking up a bunch of your passive items here. Further item is from Melv as well. So again, these are only 20 bronze. You can buy the containers here. And looking at the fish stall here, I do think that the vendor prices on a lot of these items are a little bit more expensive. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying a bunch of fish unless you need it for certain XP. I think when trading comes out, because we've got quite a few fishers in the game, there is going to be ability to buy things like cod and grilled bass. And obviously fishers will want to make some money on that, and they want to be rich too. But you'll be able to trade and buy the fish anyways. And so I wouldn't necessarily straight buy fish from the vendor. And for those people out there that have already leveled up quite high and you've got yourself, say, 10, 20, 30 gold, buying these monument pieces and then depositing them in the storage rift might save you some time. So for the level 14, 23, 53, 71, possibly 107, but only do that if you've got the gold for it. If you're a new player, it's worth just getting the monument pieces yourself. Thank you for watching the video. If you found this useful, don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, do you know any more items that people should invest in? Let us all know.